Ever wondered how the honorable and fearsome samurai came into existence? Our story begins in the 8th century, a time of change and emerging power structures in Japan. The samurai did not start as the legendary warriors we know today. Rather, they originated as provincial warriors, rustic defenders of their local territories. The term samurai itself translates to those who serve, a fitting description for these early warriors who were primarily tasked with the protection of the aristocracy. They were a part of the Bushi class, a social rank that emerged as the imperial government began to lose its grip on the rural areas of Japan. As the central power waned, the Bushi, and among them the samurai, became the de facto rulers of their provinces. In these early years, the samurai were more akin to a militia than a formal army. They were warriors of circumstance, driven to arms by the necessity of protecting their lands and the aristocracy who governed them. Their martial prowess was not yet honed to the razor's edge we associate with the samurai, but the seeds of their future discipline and honor were sown in this period. As the century wore on, the samurai began to evolve. The necessity of their role in defending their provinces led to the development of their signature martial skills. Swordsmanship, archery, and horse riding became the cornerstones of samurai training. The 8th century was the crucible in which the samurai were forged, setting the stage for their rise to power in the 12th century. The samurai's journey is a testament to the power of necessity and the resilience of the human spirit. From their humble beginnings as provincial warriors, they rose to become the iconic figures we know today, wielding not just weapons, but also influence over the course of Japan's history. From provincial warriors to the pillars of the Japanese military nobility, the journey of the samurai had just begun. The 12th century witnessed the rise of the samurai to the zenith of their power. As we delve into the annals of history, we find ourselves in the Kamakura and Muromachi periods of Japan, a time when the samurai truly came into their own. The Kamakura period, spanning from the late 12th to the early 14th century, marked the establishment of the first shogunate, a military dictatorship led by the shogun. This was a pivotal point for the samurai. No longer were they merely warriors serving their lords. Instead, they began to hold significant political sway. With the shogun at the helm and the samurai class supporting him, they became the ruling class, the power behind the throne. The samurai's influence was not just limited to the battlefield, they were also instrumental in shaping the political landscape. Their loyalty, courage, and adherence to the Bushido code not only made them formidable warriors, but also honorable leaders. This was a time when the samurai's word was law, their actions shaping the fate of the nation. As we transition into the Muromachi period, from the 14th to the late 16th century, we see the samurai's power continue to grow. It was during this era that the Ashikaga shogunate took control. Despite the political upheavals and civil wars, the samurai remained at the forefront, their influence undiminished. In fact, their involvement in these conflicts only served to amplify their glory on the battlefield. This era saw the samurai not just as military figures, but also as stewards of culture and the arts. They were patrons of tea ceremonies, no theater, and the Zen Buddhist philosophy. Their influence permeated every aspect of society, from politics to culture, etching an indelible mark on the history of Japan. Thus began the golden age of the samurai, a period of political influence and battlefield glory. Through their courage, honor, and unwavering loyalty, the samurai carved out an era that continues to captivate us even today. Their legacy is a testament to their enduring influence, a golden age that truly belonged to the samurai. The samurai were not just warriors, they were a way of life. Enter Bushido, the samurai's code of conduct that shaped not only their martial prowess, but also their very essence. This was no mere set of rules, but rather a guide to living and dying with honor, a blueprint for a way of life that was as sharp and unforgiving as the samurai's own katana. The term Bushido translates to the way of the warrior, a fitting name for the guiding principle of the samurai. This code was deeply rooted in the values of loyalty, respect, honor, and self-discipline. It was a set of virtues that every samurai was expected to uphold, a path that they walked from the moment they first held a sword to their last breath. The Bushido code was a reflection of the samurai's commitment to duty and the pursuit of perfection. It was a philosophy that extended beyond the battlefield, influencing every aspect of their lives. From their rigorous martial training to the tea ceremonies they meticulously performed, the samurai's actions were all dictated by this unwavering code. To truly grasp the essence of Bushido, one must understand its central tenet, the concept of honor. For the samurai, honor was more than just a word. It was a sacred bond, a vow they made to themselves and their masters. It was their duty to protect this honor at all costs, even if it meant sacrificing their own lives. This was the weight the samurai carried, the burden of living by the code of Bushido. In the samurai's world, there was no room for compromise. Every action, every decision, was made with honor and duty in mind. They were the epitome of discipline and determination, embodying the warrior spirit in its purest form. The samurai didn't just fight wars, they lived them, each day a battle to uphold the values they held dear. The samurai, bound by Bushido, lived and died by their honor. The battlefield was the samurai's canvas, and war, their art. This profound statement encapsulates the essence of the samurai and their approach to warfare. Let's delve deeper into this fascinating topic. The samurai were not just warriors. They were artists of battle, their martial skills honed to perfection over years of grueling training. Every movement, every strike, every parry was executed with precision, balance, and grace. They were masters of numerous martial arts, including archery, horse riding, and hand-to-hand combat. But their most revered skill, the one that defined them, was their mastery of the katana. The katana, a curved, single-edged sword with a circular or squared guard and long grip to accommodate two hands, was more than just a weapon to the samurai. It was their soul made tangible, an emblem of their honor and their duty. The samurai spent countless hours mastering the art of the sword, learning not just how to wield it, but also how to respect it, care for it, and even how to die by it. Each samurai's relationship with their katana was deeply personal. The blade was custom fitted to its owner, its balance and weight becoming an extension of the samurai's own body. The sword was so integral to the samurai's identity that they would often name their blades, believing that they housed a spirit, a life force of their own. In battle, the samurai were a force to be reckoned with. Their martial prowess, coupled with their tactical acumen and unyielding discipline, made them formidable adversaries. They were not merely fighters, they were strategists, leaders, and innovators. Their role in warfare was not just to fight but also to inspire, to lead, and to shape the course of battles and ultimately history itself. But let's not forget, the samurai were not invincible. They were human, and like all humans, they were vulnerable. They knew fear, pain, and loss, but it was their ability to rise above these, to face adversity with courage and honor, that truly set them apart. In the hands of a samurai, the sword was more than a weapon, it was an extension of their soul. Every era has its sunset, and so did the age of the samurai. The decline of the samurai was not abrupt, but rather a gradual shift that took place over many years, specifically during the Edo period. This was a time of relative peace and stability in Japan, following a tumultuous era of civil war. The unification of Japan under the Tokugawa shogunate marked the beginning of a new chapter, one that would ultimately lead to the end of the samurai's reign. The Edo period, spanning from the early 17th to the late 19th century, was characterized by a centralized feudal system. The samurai, once revered as the military nobility and officer caste, found their role in society diminishing. With the absence of warfare, the need for military skills and services started to wane. The sword, once a symbol of the samurai's power and duty, was sheathed, and their martial prowess became less valued. Instead, the focus shifted towards governance, administration, and cultural pursuits. The samurai were encouraged to take on bureaucratic roles, turning their swords into pens, so to speak. Many became scholars, teachers, and artists, contributing to a flourishing of Japanese culture and arts during this period. However, this shift was not without its challenges. The samurai were trained warriors, not bureaucrats. Their transition from the battlefield to the office was met with resistance and resentment. Many struggled to adapt to their new roles, yearning for the days of honor and glory on the battlefield. Moreover, the rise of a merchant class further undermined the samurai's status. The samurai, despite their noble lineage, were often financially destitute due to the lack of warfare and the expenses of maintaining their status. On the other hand, the merchant class, despite their low social status, became increasingly wealthy, creating a paradoxical social structure. As Japan moved towards peace and unity, the sun began to set on the age of the samurai. The samurai's decline was a complex process, influenced by political, social, and economic changes. Their sunset, however, does not diminish their legacy. It merely marks the transition of an era, the end of one chapter, and the beginning of another. The 19th century marked the end of the samurai era. A pivotal time in the history of Japan, the Meiji Restoration, which began in 1868, was a period of rapid modernization and westernization. It was a time when Japan was opening up to the world, shedding its feudal system and embarking on a path towards becoming a world power. Emperor Meiji, the figurehead of this transformation, aimed to consolidate his rule and abolish the samurai class, which had held significant power for centuries. This was not a simple process, nor was it without resistance. The samurai, after all, were deeply ingrained in Japanese society. Their code of Bushido, the way of the warrior, was a staple of Japanese culture. However, the winds of change were too strong. The samurai class was officially abolished in the early 1870s. Their privileges, such as carrying swords and enjoying a social status above commoners, were stripped away. It was a seismic shift, leaving many samurai unemployed and struggling to adapt to a society that no longer had a place for them. Meanwhile, Japan was modernizing at an astonishing pace. Railroads were built, factories sprang up, a new education system was established, and a modern Western-style military was formed. The samurai's skills, once so valuable and respected, were now seen as outdated and irrelevant in this rapidly changing world. But this was not the end for the samurai. Although their era had come to a close, their spirit and ethos found new expression in modern Japan. The samurai code of honor, discipline, and self-sacrifice became ingrained in the Japanese psyche, influencing everything from business ethics to martial arts, from cinema to literature. So, while the samurai as a class may have been abolished, their influence was far from extinguished. They evolved, adapted, and found new ways to contribute to society. Their legacy, much like the swords they once wielded, was forged in the fires of history and tempered by the winds of change. With the dawn of the Meiji era, the samurai era came to an end, but their legacy would live on. The samurai may be gone, but they are far from forgotten. Their influence permeates through the veins of modern Japan and extends its reach across the globe. The legacy of the samurai, a class of warriors who once ruled Japan, is felt and celebrated in a multitude of ways. In the realm of pop culture, the samurai are idolized and romanticized. They're the heroes and villains of countless films, novels, and video games, their stories told and retold in a myriad of ways. From the stoic and honorable warrior to the rebellious ronin, the samurai are an integral part of the global storytelling tapestry. Their influence isn't confined to the realm of fiction, though. Martial arts, once the lifeblood of the samurai, continue to be practiced and revered worldwide. The discipline, respect, and mental fortitude these arts teach are a reflection of the samurai's code of ethics, known as Bushido. The art of kendo, for instance, directly descends from kenjutsu, the samurai's art of swordsmanship. Judo and aikido, too, owe their philosophies to the samurai's way of life. The samurai's impact on modern Japan is particularly profound. Their principles of loyalty, honor, and self-sacrifice are deeply ingrained in the country's social fabric. The samurai's reverence for nature and the arts has shaped Japan's aesthetic sensibilities, seen in everything from traditional tea ceremonies to the tranquility of Japanese gardens. Even their political legacy remains. The samurai's system of feudalism may have been replaced, but the regional pride and identity they fostered persist to this day. In many ways, the samurai have shaped the Japan we know and love. Though their era has passed, the spirit of the samurai continues to inspire us. Their code, their arts, their stories, and their values live on, a testament to the enduring power of their legacy. The samurai may be history, but their influence is as present as ever. The samurai, warriors, nobles, icons. As we progress through our journey, it's crucial to take a moment to recap the legacy of the samurai. In the beginning, we saw the birth of the samurai, a class of warriors set apart by their honor and duty. They were more than just soldiers, they were nobles, holding a significant place in Japanese society. Their rise to power was not an overnight event. It was a gradual process that took place over many centuries, each era adding a new layer to their rich history. We then moved into the golden age of the samurai, an era marked by prosperity, power, and prestige. The samurai were at the height of their influence, their code of conduct, Bushido, becoming the backbone of Japanese society. They were not just warriors, they were philosophers, artists, poets living by principles of honor, courage, and self-discipline. As we navigated the way of the warrior, we delved into the samurai's philosophy and mindset. The samurai's life was not just about mastering the sword, it was about mastering the self. They practiced Zen Buddhism, meditating to attain a state of no mind, where they could act without thought, a crucial trait on the battlefield. Our journey took an intense turn as we explored the samurai's art of war. They were strategic geniuses, employing complex tactics and advanced weaponry. Their battles were not just about brute force, they were games of strategy, requiring a deep understanding of the enemy and the environment. But like all great eras, the samurai's time came to an end. We witnessed their decline and eventual fall, a period of turbulence and change. Yet, even in their downfall, the samurai left an indelible mark on Japan and the world. And that's the legacy of the samurai. They may no longer exist, but their spirit lives on. Their values, their philosophy, their art continue to inspire and influence, shaping the world in subtle yet profound ways. The Samurai, a tale of honor, duty, and the indomitable spirit of the warrior. Our journey through the pages of samurai history draws to a close. We've traversed the birth of the samurai, a time when these noble warriors first emerged, wielding not just their swords, but the power of their conviction. We've seen their golden age, a time of prosperity and respect, where the samurai not only thrived, but also shaped the very fabric of Japanese society. Their philosophy, Bushido, or the way of the warrior, was a guiding beacon, illuminating their path with values of loyalty, honor, and courage. We've delved into the samurai's art of war, a testament to their ingenuity and strategic prowess. Their battlefield was both a canvas and a chessboard, where every move was a stroke of genius, every victory a masterpiece. Yet, like all great epics, the samurai's reign saw a decline. The tides of change swept over Japan, and the samurai, once the stalwarts of the land, found themselves adrift. The end of the samurai era was not, however, the end of their legacy. The spirit of the samurai lives on, their values embedded in the heart of modern Japan, and their stories continue to inspire millions around the globe. We've taken a glimpse into this fascinating world, but remember, it's just the tip of the iceberg. The history of the samurai is a vast, intricate tapestry, woven with countless threads of individual stories, battles, triumphs, and tragedies. There's always more to learn, more to explore, more to understand, and so we invite you to delve deeper, to immerse yourself in the rich tapestry of the samurai's history. Read their tales, study their philosophy, appreciate their art. Let their spirit guide you, inspire you, and challenge you. As we say goodbye, remember the samurai, not just as warriors, but as a symbol of honor and a testament to the human spirit. Their legacy is not confined to the pages of history but lives within each one of us, a constant reminder of what it truly means to live with honor, courage, and unwavering conviction.